Oh my god. The heck was that?
So, Zach, about those bonus features in DVDs nowadays. You know, the ones from the 80s have almost no bonus material. Even if they do, it's a trailer and the visual quality is pretty bad. Well, that visual quality is a good reminder of those days. So many new audio and visual appliances were coming out back then. Do you remember the first video deck we bought? We bought it to record one of the Star Wars movies on TV.
Illegal?
And remember when that video store opened, we spent hours there, just trying to find a good movie to rent. There weren't that many to choose from back then. I remember renting some really bad ones after reading those back cover taglines. Hey, remember? Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, filmed in 1978. Produced, directed, written, and edited by John DeBello. It was really awful, but for some reason I still remember it pretty well.
Hey Zach, do you know how to get to the police station, by the way?
Re-released in 95. The 87-minute long theatrical release bumped up to a whopping 90 minutes. But that was around the time I joined the Bureau. I never have a chance to see it. I know, Zach. Once this case is over, we can watch it together. I bet we can buy a copy on the internet pretty easily.
I was listening. He's giving off a little bit of an American Psycho vibe, though.
Speaking of 80s movies, one jewel in the rough springs to mind. Deadly Spawn. Do you remember that one, Zach? Back in 83, directed by Douglas McCown. Right, it was filmed pretty cheap, but still it was pretty good. The monster design with the mouth crammed full of teeth, I loved it. So many delicious B-movie cliches. Did you know that they made a sequel? But I never got to see the sequel. The rental store didn't have it for some reason. They said the staff for the sequel was totally different from the original. Wonder how the sequel turned out. You know, the monster in that one responded to sound. Wait, Zach. Sounds a lot like the movie Tremors.
He's absolutely right.
I think that one was back in '89, directed by Ron Underwood.
Reba
Now,
McEntire.
that was a great role for Kevin Bacon. Masterpiece. Zach, that one had sequels like crazy. I remember there was a fourth one. I've only seen the first one, though.
It's a wise choice. First one's very good. He's recording an Isaac episode.
Tremors. I think Fred Ward was in it.
Absolutely.
You say Fred Ward, and I say Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins.
I say Tremors, personally.
That one was back in '85, I think. Directed by Guy Hamilton. Guess Hamilton was aiming to start a series like 007, but it had no sequels. A real shame. Do you remember the martial arts they used in that film? Called Sinanju? The ultimate in martial arts, using no weapons at all. Remo's Master Chun ran across water, remember? And he loved soap operas. Man, that was a good character. He was played by Joel Grey, the best supporting actor in Cabaret. Of course, in Remo, he had so much makeup on you couldn't tell.
I've met my match. He knows more useless information than I do. He has bettered me. Absolutely.
Now, Joel Grey's daughter is, of course...
From Dirty Dancing.
That's right,
And also
Jennifer
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
You knew that, right, Zach? Jennifer Grey. She's in one of my
Ferris
most
Bueller's
favorite
Day Off.
movies. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
What did I tell you?
1986, directed by John
Absolutely
Hughes.
true. Matthew
That
Broderick.
one was so 80s. Zach, you're not the most cheerful guy I know. But you really do like those cheerful movies. We used to love those teenage movies back then, didn't we? Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink.
Also John Hughes.
St. Elmo's Fire and Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Sean Penn.
That last one was in 1982, directed by Amy Heckerling.
She also did
Now
Clueless.
that was an impressive film. You've got Sean Penn in the lead,
Told you.
with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Phoebe
And
Cates.
remember Judge
Not
Reinhold?
to mention Nicolas Cage and Forrest Whitaker. were
Known
in it
as
too.
Nicholas Coppola
And
at
the
that
original
moment.
book and the script were written by Cameron Crowe.
From Almost Famous.
How could that not be a great film? Do you remember, Zach? When that movie ended, the last words, the end, was from an arcade game. That's right, it was from Missile Command. That stuck in my head for a while. The memories. I feel like I have a lot of movies to catch up on. Let's just hope we can get to the end of this case.
Oh,
Then
got
maybe we can
him.
catch up on a few. Give some thought about what movie you want to see next, Zach.
Ad Astra. I'm seeing double. 4 Ryans.
Okay, Zach. I've been thinking about what movie I'd like to watch next. And finally, I've made a decision. It's always hard to narrow it down just to one movie, but I've put a lot of thought into this, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. 1975. Directed
Close
by
Encounters of
Steven
the Third
Spielberg
Kind.
himself. The grandfather of panic movies. Set in a small town in Massachusetts. That movie made me stay away from the beach
Oh, it's
for
Jaws.
years. I was always afraid that a hand might come floating up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yep. It's Jaws. The underwater camera work accompanied by that John Williams music. I've never been that scared by a movie before. But the best thing about it is that it isn't just another panic movie. The mayor who won't close the beach even when there are so many victims. And Chief Brody putting the citizens' lives above all else.
Richard Dreyfuss.
The film gave a lot of time to the dispute and friction between them. It certainly had a lot of messages for a 2-hour film. That's probably another reason why it was such a record-breaking hit. One of my regrets in life is that I didn't see it at the movie theater.
Unfortunately, I wasn't
I
born
guess I
yet.
was still just a child back then. But still, I wanted to taste that terror in real time. That reminds me, Zach. Did you know this one? Jaws also appears in another movie that was produced by Spielberg.
1942.
Second Back to the
Yeah,
Future.
Back to the Future 2.
It was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who later made Forrest Gump.
That's right, Michael J.
That's
Fox.
also a masterpiece, of course, but we'll discuss that another time.
Christopher Lloyd.
So, the scene where Jaws appears is right after Marty McFly goes 30 years into
Oh,
the
he
future.
goes to the movie theater.
He
It's
passes
Jaws
by a
2.
movie theater and is attacked by a holographic shark. Marty is shocked, of course, but looking closer, he
Jaws
sees the
Part
words,
19.
Jaws Part 19.
That's right.
The director is credited as Steven Spielberg Jr. In reality, there were actually only 4 Jaws movies.
Michael Caine
It
made
was
one.
still a great joke. 30 years from 1985 would be 2015. We'll be there pretty soon.
F.
I wonder what life would be like by then, Zach.
Really makes you think.
Zach, don't you think there are a lot of good-looking women in this town? It's like heaven compared to the town we grew up in. Do you remember Liz? Prom queen? Elizabeth Scott Moore.
Scott?
She could be royalty with a name like that. But you know, she was like an actress from a B-movie, wasn't she? Bleached blonde hair, too much makeup, clothes showed off her cleavage, and that mole by her mouth. Say, Zach, were you with me back then? You know, that mole was made with makeup, right? We happened to be on the same bus once. I saw her drawing it on with makeup.
Mole, mole,
I
mole.
wasn't surprised, I guess. Just impressed that she would go that far to create that image. Do you remember that movie we went to go see that day? I'll give you a hint. It was the 4th in a popular series,
James Bond?
and was produced by Menahem
Oh,
Golan's
jeez.
Canon Films.
I have no
Figured
idea.
it out, Zach? Think it over then.
Oh,
Put your
call your
homework
homework
till
till next time. So it's probably from the 1980s. It's the 4th film in the franchise. That's tough. That's tough. It's not the Fast and or the Furious. I could see it being the 4th Rambo. Or Superman 4 is another plausible. It's not Indiana Jones. The 4th Indiana Jones movie came out in like 2008. Could be Death Wish. Could be Death Wish 4.
To recap, the movie was the 4th sequel.
Started
to a series
in
that started in
1978. It could be
That's
Death
right, Zach.
Wish.
It was Superman.
Oh, it
4,
was Superman. 4.
Quest for Peace. Lex Luthor was back. It was played by Gene Hackman.
Now retired.
That alone made it a must for all us fans.
Did you know that part of Superman
I
1 was
remember
filmed
much
at
more about it,
Kingston
though.
Penitentiary? Actually, I
I'm
think
sure
it was
there was more
Collins Bay
trivia about it.
Penitentiary in Kingston, Ontario.
Still, forget 4. Richard Donner directing 1 and 2. Now those two.
Number
great
2 with
movies.
General Zod. That's an
Christopher
all-time
Reeve
classic.
really shined as Superman.
Kneel before Zod.
Actually, Zach, I've got a confession to make. Promise not to tell anyone because I'd be really embarrassed. I actually like the first 2 Superman movies more than the first 2 Star Wars movies. I think John Williams did a better job with the theme song for Superman.
I could
But
agree with
whenever I
that.
try
The
to hum
Superman theme song is very good.
It always turns into the Star Wars song somewhere along the way. I know it's strange, Zach. I know.
He's right.
So, Zach, which Richard Donner film do you like the best? No need to hurry. Take some time to think it over.
Isn't it? Isn't that the Superman? Or is that Indiana Jones? What's the Superman? That's Superman? Okay, thank you. Indiana Jones is... Ooh, ah. Whoa.
I went to see every Richard Donner movie on the day they premiered.
That's just madness.
Every single one. Goonies. Lost
Never
Boys,
mind. They're all
Lethal Weapon
bangers.
series. But my favorite has to be Lady Hawk. That was back in 1985. The same year as Goonies.
Very busy year.
Both Rutger Hauer and Michelle Pfeiffer really shine in
Rip
that one.
Rutger Hauer, F and Chapley's for Roy
It's the
Beatty.
story setting that was really good. A love story about a cursed knight that changes into a wolf at night.
F and
And
Chat.
a cursed maiden that changes into a hawk during the day.
Unbeknownst
Very romantic.
to me, I
Don't you
now
think
have a
so, Zach?
new movie recommendation for
together at
Austin if
dusk.
you're interested.
Right between day and night. Together as humans for only a brief moment. Perfect setting for a fantasy movie.
I just had a thought, Zach.
I really like those movies that have women changing into animals. Can you tell which movie I just remembered?
That's right, Zach. With Nastasia Kinski in the lead
Red
role.
Sonja.
Now, that was a fantastic movie.
Yo, we've now got confirmation. York is confirmed YIF friendly. He really likes those movies where women turn into animals. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He totally freaked.
We have Nastasia Kinski in the lead role and Paul Schrader directing back in
Name's
1981.
ASAC Schrader,
right,
you son of a bitch.
Cat people.
About a woman who turns into a leopard when she falls in love and then eats the person she loves.
I thought it was romantic.
He's into vor too?
Romance right there, Zach.
Nastasia was perfect for that role. Casting her made that movie a success. Malcolm McDowell as her brother was also a good
Yeah,
call.
he was also great
He's
in
like
Clockwork
a
Orange.
panther even without any of that special Hollywood makeup.
Now, the name Malcolm McDowell
Slow
rings
down.
another bell. You know the movie I'm talking
Clockwork
about,
Orange,
right,
baby.
Zach?
Don't tell me you're thinking about Clockwork Orange.
Oh!
Malcolm McDowell, come on, it's pretty obvious.
Thank you.
Blue Thunder.
He baited me.
Came out in 1983. Was directed by John Badham.
Also known as
Malcolm plays the
John
bad guy in
Bacon.
that one. He just totally outshines the hero.
Oh,
Willie
from
Shire.
Jaws.
At least I think so. I have to say, not many people agree with me about Blue Thunder.
Zach, if you disagree with any of my opinions about movies,
You can
just
fuck off,
come out and
idiot.
speak your mind, okay? Just speak your mind.
Skirt. For real though, get back to the movie talk in the car.
Great.
We don't have to be in the car to do movie talk. I can just be like Bud
Great.
York.
A shot.
I saw Ad Astra
Great.
last night. What a delightful movie, directed by James Gray, starring Brad Pitt in a pivotal role in isolation-focused science fiction drama. You remember that, right, Zach? A lot of people thought it was boring, but I thought the tone was befitting of the sparse nature of the efforts of the film in the first place. Not perfect, though. Perfect science fiction film? 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's right. Directed by Stanley Kubrick. Originally based on a novel from...
Bullseye. Great.
I should know that one, but I forgot. Isaac Clarke? Is that correct? Arthur C. Clarke. That's right. Hey! Madam! Get it off, please. That's Dead Space. That's right. Isaac Clarke is from Dead Space. You remember the game. Shame that studio was purchased by EA and then yeeted into the stratosphere. Guess they couldn't find a way to make a Star Wars game profitable, huh, Zach? Probably within 45
Zach,
minutes.
we've ended up with a third victim. That dive I made at the gallery ended up being a wasted attempt to save a life.
Wasted.
It's a real mess, Zach.
Dive. When's the last time I made a dive
Remember the
like that?
dive at the start of that movie, The Never-Ending Story?
Oh, I remember.
Sebastian's so afraid
Do
of the
you?
water.
It was in my late teens. We used to go to those concerts.
You and I like punk rock, but we like different types of punk. You liked hard and heavy punk, like Crash and Sham 69.
Crash?
I like the more twisted ones, like The Damned, Buzzcocks, Iggy Pop, and Joy Division. We used to talk for hours about the bands we really liked, but for some reason, neither of us listened to the Sex Pistols. I wonder why that was. Seems strange thinking about it now.
Yeah, Joy Division is post-punk, idiot. Joy Division, so twisted. Just unconscionable stuff in those Joy Division songs, like Love Tearing Us Apart, Isolation.
You know what?
Sorry, my
there was
mistake.
one band that we both liked.
We went all the way to New York to
It's
see
the
them play.
Ramones.
Right, Zach?
It took us hours to get to New York by bus.
Definitely the Ramones.
We got to the CBGB and we were so nervous we couldn't go inside.
It took us 30 minutes to gather enough courage to go inside.
It's the Ramones. Or
And
Blondie.
inside, we were shocked. Right, Zach?
I'll never forget that feeling.
It's
It
the
was like
Ramones, dude.
Blitzkrieg Bop. The Ramones.
Got him.
That song still makes me feel good. And that's a sign of a classic. But it's amazing I got in without being asked for ID. Those were the good old days. Rock and roll high school and Chinese rock. Sheena is a punk rocker and surfing bird. And I was so depressed when I heard the news of the deaths. Original punk is one of the greatest gifts left from the 20th century. Let's hope they're still rocking on wherever they are.
A couple of the Ramones are still alive, brother. Anyway, I had a great joke. I was gonna save it for January 1st. This is what reminded me of the Ramones. I swear I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks. It's January 1st, 2020. You go, hey Ramones, what year is it? And then it's just the very start of I Wanna Be Sedated. And he just goes, 2020! And then you cut it and just post it. I think it could be a pretty good micro joke that could go pseudo-viral on Twitter. You know what else I watched this weekend? The Love Guru. I watched Amazon Prime because I have a fascination with watching absolutely terrible movies. I knew it was bad going in. I had no idea how absolutely awful. The movie is so bad. I remember, like, the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, don't get me wrong, this is fucking garbage. This is absolutely abysmal. But then, like, 10 minutes in, Vern Troyer is he's just sitting down, and I remember this one line, just like, it shook me so deep to my core that I actually had to pause the movie and re-examine whether or not I could even continue. He's just sitting, and he says, if I sit like this any longer, I'm gonna tear my dink bag. And I just thought, there's just so much to unpack. First off, what? Doesn't even make any sense. So he's just sitting down. And then secondly, people like wrote that line. You know, Mike Myers wrote that line in the script. The script went to like a Hollywood studio. They went, sure, we'll give you, you know, $55 million to make this movie. They cast Vern Troyer. His by the way, his name is Coach Cherkov.
Great.
Get it?
Great.
And then they had him say the line. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm still not even... I'm not quite done with the movie yet. I still have half of it left. Sorry, he says he's gonna pop his dink bag. My mistake. My mistake. It's absolutely... It's a movie where... I cannot believe that it actually... It has like a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is unfathomable. That means if you took 7 people whose job it was to watch movies and give their opinions, one of those people statistically would be like, yeah, it's worth watching. I don't believe it. I don't, but for that to be at a 1 in 7 is stunning. Yes, Justin Timberlake is indeed in the movie. He plays a Los Angeles Kings goalkeeper called Jacques Lecoq Grand. And his thing is that his penis is so large that every time Mike Myers sees it, he just says something like, you know, that's a big sausage. That's the joke. That's the whole joke. Yeah, they do say Mariska Hargitay over and over as like a fake Hindu greeting. And then later in the movie, Mariska Hargitay shows up, which is like, you're like, yeah, I got the joke. That's her name. Got him. No, you don't. Trust, I've seen The Master of Disguise, brother. I don't know, this might be a slightly touchy subject, but I saw a tweet. I don't know if it's true. It's tailored for millennials like myself. But it said that, you know the scene where he puts on the turtle costume in Master of Disguise and goes to the Turtle Club? The tweet that I read said that they were filming that scene when they got the news that like 9/11 was happening, and they all got together and had like a moment of silence while Dana Carvey was in the turtle costume. Just like if that's real, and I don't know, the timeline feels like it could match up, but if that's real, that is it is an incredible scene to imagine. I could see how they wouldn't laugh during that at the time. You know, that was a scary day. Things on that day felt they didn't feel right, you know? If you saw it in a movie now, you would be like, this is bizarre. But you can just imagine like Dana Carvey having to give like a speech that's like, you know, we came here, you know, we gotta, the terrorists win if we don't get our work done. All right, take 75. Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? Turtle. All right, guys, it's been a hard day. Why don't you take off early? And then it ended up becoming the most enduring scene in the movie, for sure. But again, I don't know if that tweet is real. I mean, the tweet is real. I don't know if the... This feels faster this time. The tweet might be real, but it's also a lie. Anyway. You know what I mean? It's a real lie. 1% on Rotten Tomatoes for Master of Disguise. Master of Disguise is is horrible. It's a terrible movie. Save? Where, brother? You see a payphone in Corpse Tunnel? I do agree that is bad, but it's not as bad as The Love Guru. The Love Guru is horrible. I came to a realization. Dan and I don't agree on movies very often, but we agree on Batman movies 100% of the time. Dan did not like Joker. I did not like Joker. One of Dan's favorite movies is The Dark Knight. I don't know if it's one of my favorite movies. It's a great movie. It's not hard to agree on The Dark Knight, though. I mean, it's a great movie. I do have to figure out how he feels about The Love Guru. What's Best Batman? Honestly, I think it's pretty easy. Like, people might have slightly differing opinions, but Christian Bale is the best Batman actor. I think he's both the best Batman and the best actor who's ever played Batman. I like Michael Keaton, but I think Christian Bale is like, he's #1 by far. Heath Ledger's Joker, still
Zach,
the best.
Did you want to go somewhere before we visit Harry?
I don't know
It's
where
fine
else
by
you
me.
go from that. You know, the best Alfred? I got no idea, dude. Probably Michael Caine, I guess. Okay, let's try again. Gotta think of some fish names, okay? Yeah. Gotta catch a hunker, a grouper, or a tuna. Gotta catch a hunker, a haddock, or a cod. Gotta catch a hunker, albacore. What the hell, man? How did I get nothing from the sea? Now we gotta switch it up slightly. Don't remember. How does the tune go during this part? Oh, Jesus. It's fucking bullets. Oh my god. You caught a first aid kit smile. I just want to catch something else. I think I'd just go faster. Lake bandages. Gotta catch a honker, a steelhead, or a blowfish. Gotta catch a honker, a big carp, or an eel. Gotta catch a honker. Go! Emily! It's a tin can! You caught a garbage!